All right. A ship I was really looking forward to, because when the L21 Wolf came out, who didn't want a variant with lasers on this thing? I think all of us did. I was actually super excited for this. And I took the day off yesterday. I literally was curious if these clowns put this sale up on a Monday, hoping that I would stay offline. And maybe they did. But the L22 Alpha Wolf is available, and it is, as we know, the laser variant of the L21 Wolf. But there's a lot more to it, and we're going to cover all of it and more on this. I have done my homework, and I've brought up the receipts, and yeah, I want to say what's good and what's bad. And yeah, let's just start out with the behind the ships, though.
So how long have you known you were going to do another Wolf?
So during internal development of the Wolf, I think there was very divided opinions on the looks. Generally, we all thought it was cool, but we knew that the fin was going to be pretty divisive. Before we...
It has nothing to do with the fin.
Released, we'd already started plans for...
The fin, people were like, yeah, it's ugly, but they still bought the ship.
An alternative hull variant that kept the styling of the Wolf, but did things in a different way.
It was the weapon type.
And that is the L22 Alpha Wolf.
I like the rear of the ship. I love the rear of the ship, actually.
The L22 Alpha Wolf is a single-seat light fighter that has aggressive lines and heavy aero that allow the vehicle to be highly maneuverable and agile.
It takes that very retro-futuristic styling, trades out the ballistic weapons for energy weapons, and then...
And that's the big thing, is it has energy weapons. And energy weapons are still just the meta right now, and ballistics are kind of still trying to figure out their way. Engineering still doesn't have armor in it, so we don't really get to see if ballistics have that role that we're hoping they have.
And there's a few other little subtle geometry tweaks.
It's very sleek, somewhat aggressive, kind of like a scalpel. Doesn't just get the job done, but also looks good doing it.
This ship is for...
I feel like they literally fed him that exact line, and he said it 15 times, and he was just like, did I get it?
An aggressive pilot that likes to get into the action and get out quickly.
So what makes it Alpha? It's not automatically better, right?
Releasing another variant, we didn't want to just swap the weapons out. We wanted to make some visual differences. The rear wings are...
We wanted to sell you an entirely different ship. This isn't just like a... I'm surprised that we don't get to have a kit... Like... We'll talk about that at the end.
Completely changed. They've got a very different silhouette now. We have these long sweeping wings on the Wolf, whereas on the Alpha Wolf, there's some vertical side...
Am I giving them ideas? Yeah, good ones. Aliens, chat. Aliens did this, clearly. That's what he's trying to tell us.
Fins, rather than being on the underside of the ship, they're now on the exterior, on the sides.
A direct nod to World War II aircraft with the kind of T-shaped rudders and elevators in the back.
They give a little bit more kind of like straight line attitude to the ship, I think. One of the things that split the customer base for Kruger was the fin on the base Wolf. So what we decided to do with the Alpha Wolf is the fin has been drastically reduced and giving a much more kind of streamlined look to it.
It's just a light...
There is still a fin there. It's very, very small, but I don't think I could let it out without one.
You will see some slight handling differences to reflect the geometries of the ship. So you lose a tiny amount of SCM and nav speed, but gain maneuverability instead.
I haven't looked at the stats, but apparently this is just a genuinely better ship.
Also added this kind of sinister-looking red light stripe on the canopy, which references iconic sci-fi like RoboCop, also Knight Rider. It has a
Cylons.
Sinister, high-tech vibe, and maybe even feels a little bit alive.
The other big change we've made on the rear is we've got these kind of large power capacitors. from
That looks
there,
good.
you can see these really bright orange cables that kind of dive into the ship, and then they kind of come back out, and you can see where they connect into the weapons when they're deployed as well.
My favourite thing about the L22 is the size 4 laser repeaters.
With the energy
They fire pretty quickly. I feel like they fire like decent for size
weapons,
4s.
this obviously means you are not limited in terms of
Now, oh, that's one thing I didn't do my homework with yet. How do these compare to other repeaters in the current game? I should bring up Urkel after the video.
firepower. You don't have that
take a
finite
quick
amount
look
of
now.
ballistic ammo. You have energy weapons that recharge, so it allows you to stay in the fight longer.
Are they
They're
slower
still
bullet velocity?
very elegant. They fold away. They just look very special, in my opinion.
It also comes with a slight variation in the missiles that provide a little bit more firepower.
It trades out the size 1 missiles for size 2 missiles.
We've managed to fit 3 of these in each wing.
And another key differentiator is the fact that it has upgraded components by default.
It's got slightly upgraded quantum drive in it as factory standard.
And one of the nice things about the Alpha Wolf being
Urkel has them locked, so like I can't see the stats on them really. Maybe we can look at the actual weapons themselves.
a variant is it gets to use all of the base Wolf paints.
550 RPM. Yeah, but they shoot at fucking 1650 meters per second. Is that true? Where do we see this? Because this is like legitimately important. I'm seeing it now. Let's see. I see max ammo's at 75. Yeah, 1650. Attritions fire at 1000. Where is its actual competitor? Which would be the, let's go size filter, size 4. And then laser repeater. The rhinos fire at 1800. So rhinos are still better. Right? So these aren't the best. Yeah, I think you're still going to put rhinos on every other ship, making the ability to not put rhinos on this ship. Like, they're doing what they should be doing. But it has more alpha damage. As somebody who doesn't do combat, I always misunderstand what alpha damage means. Because the burst DPS is higher for the Rhino than it is the Axiom, which is the gun on this ship. And alpha minimum is 85 versus 65 on the Rhino. Damage before reduction per shot. It's damage per shot, basically. Okay, got it. So it's 85 per round of damage is essentially what it means. They both have the same max ammo. And I maybe need to update Urkel because it didn't have the fire rate there. So let's bring this back up. Laser repeaters, size filter 4. I'm going to bring these down onto the screen for you guys to see now. And it still doesn't say the fire rate for the weapon. That's a trivial difference in reality. 30%? Are you insane? That is not trivial at all. That's actually quite a meaningful one. Now, I'm not coming here going like I think that this is Omega pay to win or anything. It's just, yeah. It's not a bad gun is what we're trying to point out here. 750 versus 550 RPM. Which is 750? The Axiom? I don't think so, right? The Rhino has the fastest RPM. Yeah. Okay. So it also has a so they're essentially the same. Oh yeah, I should have went to SP Viewer. You put each one on, it was fun? Yeah, I imagine it was. And I'm assuming the ship is very fun. I don't want to talk about the ship as a problem or the weapon as a problem because they're not. There's only one problem that we're going to talk about here. Doing the separate variant, no issue with it at all, right? If they were strictly in game and not on the store, there would be no issues with this. All right, let's keep going.
plus all of its new paints, and those new paints will be backwards
Sounds like they're
compatible
well balanced, is what
with
I'm
the
trying to
L21 as
point
well.
out here.
One of the things that sets Kruger apart from other manufacturers is they are sort of a closed loop for upgrades. They want you to upgrade.
They're sort of like equal to the CFs. I think the Wolf maybe helps somebody with a little bit less good aim, where the CFs are beneficial to people with worse aim, maybe.
From themselves and not look elsewhere.
They make custom integrated weapons that give a much more interesting, dynamic experience, but they know
Exactly,
you want more
Piemaker.
options. They know you don't just want the basic that comes with the actual ship.
So disgusting. This is where it gets disgusting. This is where I was linked this video. Is they're like, yeah, Kruger knows you want more options here, and we're just gonna sell you them on the fucking pledge
More
store.
options. They know you don't just want the basic that comes
Unreal.
with the actual ship. Kruger's more than happy to provide people with as many options as they want, as long as you stay with Kruger.
As long as you buy them on the pledge store.
So for that reason, we're introducing weapon kits for both versions of the Wolf. Coming alongside the Alpha Wolf is a ballistic weapons kit.
I watched this and I was like, oh, no big deal. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I was thinking about something else. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
That allows you to swap out the laser.
I was like, yes, this is really good. When I saw this, I was like, that's really good. Awesome. I love that idea. So if I liked the look of the other one, I could put the lasers on it. If I like the look of that one, I could put ballistics on it.
Repeaters for the ballistic Gatling.
They didn't learn from the blades. Oh no, they learned a lot from the blades. They learned a lot from the blades. We'll get
Which is
into
something
that.
that will be important in the upcoming tactical
Just not in
strike
the way you
groups.
wanted them to.
Alternatively, if you love your L21 and its fin, you can get the new laser repeater and put that onto your L21.
I love how
This
they keep
really
saying
allows
it's
you
the
to
fin.
pick which visual style of Wolf you like and then kit it out how you wish in terms of weapons.
That means that every time Kruger released something new, it's
fin
not
was a
just
meme.
new Kruger owners that will get excited, it's old Kruger owners as well.
And I think this is something we'll see going forward with future Kruger ships.
So you're going on the record right now, there's more Kruger ships coming.
Yes.
I love that. I was like, everything about this, I was like, that's awesome. Because I was thinking back to a previous sale that they did really well. Again, we'll talk about it in a second. I was like, oh, that's really good. They're going to do these. They're going to do variants. Like we could swap things so we can kind of mix and match and make it the way we want. I love that. Love that.
What you need to ask yourself is, which one do you like better? Or which one you feel like flying today? Some days you might
Or just which combination is best
want
for
to
you.
fly close to the water and
Right?
skim it. Other days you might want to feel a bit more Robocop. Both of them are beautiful ships. And I think a lot of people will want to own both.
I was really happy with the L21. I think the L22, it stands alone. I think it's a great looking ship. I think it's a great functioning ship. Very happy.
The
I
team
think
did
it's
an amazing
beautiful.
job.
I like it so much more
Bringing
than the
concept to
21.
life. I hope you feel like you have something powerful in your hands. I hope when you see the weapons extend, you realize that this ship packs a punch.
All right. Like, nothing really bad to say until you go to the pledge store, right? I love the ideas here from the video game perspective. If the pledge store didn't exist, I love the mix and match options. It's like modularity, but like better than we've had in other modular experiences. So much better, right? I also don't like the red bar. I hope we can turn it off. This is not where I want to go. I want to go here. Because guess what, guys? The only place that you could buy these weapons is on the pledge store. Yes, if somebody dies or you kill a wolf, you can pull them off and put them on your ship in the current game. Hey, it's possible. But they're it's not like you keep those. With the let's talk about the insurance system that's coming up and dead man switches and so on. They're going to dead man these and you're going to lose them. So that's not exactly a viable excuse for this is okay. They have learned nothing from the flight blades that we said. But what they did learn is how can we get away with this? Flight blades were an over-encompassing conversation around selling more items in the game for real money. And that's what players did not want. And the overwhelming feedback was, stop doing this. The overwhelming feedback after the Flightblade drama was, why are you still selling weapons for money and not putting them in the game like you did with the Flightblades? Why are you treating the weapons differently? Because they wanted to see if they can get away with it. So then they found the perfect scenario: Kruger ships with bespoke weapons that only affect Kruger ships, right? And that was the same thing with the tank. That was the same thing with the Scorpius. That was the same thing with something else. There was, I think, 3 things that they sold, right? They'll be purchasable. They are not purchasable in-game now. Do not defend the company that has made more money than they have ever made any year and are still nickel and diming their players for money, okay? We have expressed to them of what is okay and what is not okay. The bomb rack, that was the other thing. Yes, correct. Like Gladius bomb racks and stuff. We did a very good job of giving them feedback around this. Hey guys, we don't want you to encroach the game. We don't want you to encroach on these kits give you 2 variants for the price of 1 plus 15. No, they do not. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, they do not. The 2 ships are entirely different. One is more maneuverable than the other. Therefore, the newer one is better. What they did, and I'm so glad you said this, because what did they learn from the Flightblade experience? That if we sold you a ship variant that reduces its SCM and raises its maneuverability, we sold you a Flightblade without you knowing that we sold you a Flightblade. They sold you a Flightblade and put a wing on the back of it. When what they should have done was, I believe, sell you cosmetic kits. If they really thought, so this is about the ship or the kit, it's about everything. I would have loved, if they really thought it was a cosmetic thing, they should have sold you the cosmetic kit for the L22 so you can make it look, you can make your L21 look like an L22 or whatever. It's a visual thing, a cosmetic pack. And you wouldn't hear me say anything. If they actually believed it was about the fin and not about the lasers and not about the actual mechanics of the flight, they would have sold you just the cosmetic, right? And that would have been great. I think that would have been a really fun way of selling things. Maybe, unique pink variants or whatever, right? I think that would have been totally fine. But no, they sold you a ship that is a Flightblade and then are selling kits. And in the next patch, if they stick to what they told us they were going to do during the last Flightblade drama, they will sell these in-game in the next patch. So 4.5 is when we'll see these come into the game. This is not the worst case scenario. This is not. Flightblades were significantly worse than these weapons. So what they're doing is they are creaking the door open and trying to add additional monetization to their game. I have gone on the record many, many times saying game development is clearly very expensive, especially MMO development, especially a game like this. So they're going to need to do other types of monetization other than ship purchases, long-term, they might try, giving more benefits to subscriptions. They might try all sorts of different things over the next few years. I think we should speak with our wallets first, our voices second. I've already spoken with my wallet. I am not fucking buying these things. No way. I never add any extra money to them anyway. But the fact of the matter here is this is exactly what we said, please don't do. The last time we talked about this. And what did we say? What did I say I was going to do? I'm not going to back down and let them do this shit. This is what they're trying to do it slightly or sneakily. Again, they did not sell a Flightblade, but they sold you a Flightblade. Right? So it's like, This is that slippery slope. We're at the very top of the slope. We're not moving very fast, but they're trying to send us down endless monetization, and they're going to do whatever they can here to make a buck. And again, that's fine. They're making 2 games at the same time. They're trying to make their money. I don't want them to not make money. I want them to make more money than any game company ever has ever. I just want them to do it in a way that it does not encroach on the video game. Again, we know their insurance systems. So if you buy this for real money, you get to dead man switch this. If you buy this for not real money, you don't get to dead man switch this, right? Is basically how I understand. Maybe I'm not understanding that correctly, actually. But they're making it so you never lose anything if it is locked to your account. And we need to know a lot more about their insurance systems, and we need those to come in game ASAP. We know they're working on tier 1 item insurance. I can't wait for that to happen. It is very natural that they wouldn't have it happen until after their big sales. But yeah, it's trying to get people to have these things on launch and never be able to lose them. So again, they sold you a Flight Blade without actually physically selling you a Flight Blade. They put those on the shelves and went, whoops, oh no, even though they still exist. And the ones that people have bought are there. They haven't added them to any other ships. It was so obviously a monetization effort and not a video game thing. Look back to the Flight Blades thing. Have you gotten any new Flight Blades for ships that don't have Flight Blades? No. Why? Because they couldn't sell them to you for real money. They are not making a game for you right now, guys. They are making Squadron 42. If the Flight Blades were a thing that they actually wanted to do for the game's development, they would continue to do with them. Right? Disagree with you. Someone can buy both ships and have the same effect. What's the difference? Buddy, I have been against ship sales forever. I am not saying that this is a thing, right? It is way better to buy one ship and spend $12 to get the gun than to have to buy an entirely different ship for 80 or 90 or 100 or whatever this thing is, 105 or something. Obviously, this is like selling you one ship, but actually charging $12 more for that ship without you realizing it, right? I understand that aspect, but that's not what this is, because the 2 ships are different and the new one is better. At least in the current flight model. Okay, so that is the things that I'm angry about. Let's, again, look. These are replaceable. Just double, again, they're swappable of the VMA and a tractor beam, just so people know that they are swappable and you can find them in game. It's not all on the pledge store. There are options to get them into the game. In fairness, let's go back to good old Xylo. We'll go here for this. And his wonderful Flight Blade update, where he said on the Flight Blade thing, we were moving so fast that we missed a step. Did you just forget that the step was there again? No, you knew the step was there. And here's the thing that we all gave them feedback on. This isn't good enough. Flight Blades will be attainable in the next thing. Why is there an exclusivity thing here? Why is there exclusivity here? People buy ships and items for real money because they want them on launch and they don't want to deal with wipes. They want them to surpass wipes. That is why people spend real money. Right? If I can get it in-game for in-game credits, it won't surpass a wipe, and I'll have to re-earn it when the game comes out. That's the advantage that you're paying $12 for. Smaller components like Flight Blades or bomb racks, they should be available in-game at the same time they appear on the store. Bomb racks equal ship weapons to me. Am I crazy or am I crazy or am I not crazy? What's going on here? They are the same thing. Bomb racks equal ship weapons. They should be in the game at the same time. And then the people who want to pay for convenience can pay for convenience, and the people who want to play the game can then play the game. And then again, it is still an issue in my opinion, but it is less an issue. It depends on the weapon? No, it depends on what they want to sell you and how they want to sell it to you and their goals financially. Again, they have not made a single other flight blade because they couldn't sell it to you for real money. That's why. They didn't think that they were a good idea for the game's development necessarily. They thought it was a good idea to sell you. And that's the problem here, is we are not making the best video game possible. We are making the best pledge store possible. And that is what I am tired of, guys. That is what's frustrating, is if they just shifted their focus to actually making a good, fun game and not 100% focused on the pledge store, they would have so much more money from the current monetization systems that they already have. That's what's so frustrating, is like, you say it'll never happen, but the thing is the amount of ships that people would purchase would be insane if the game was actually fun and balanced and made sense. But this is testing the waters and moving the goalposts. So that's what they did here. So just putting their own words right back in their face and saying, you said you were going to do this, you didn't. This is, again, a situation where we can call them out for literally lying. There's your lie. There's very few cases where I think we can call them liars. I believe I was lied to in this case, and I don't think it's good. Okay. Now, what was the good feedback that we gave them? I have a timestamp for something. This was something really fantastic. We gave them really good feedback on this, and I thought that this was fantastic. Claps, great. This is why when I watched the L22 Wolf video, I was like, oh, this is really good. Here's why.
The Apollo is a modular medical ship, and included with every Apollo is 6 medical modules. And whilst there is
included with every Apollo, they gave you 6 modules, something that they would definitely upsell you in previous years for a lot of money. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, the L22 Wolf is going to be included with these weapon kits for $12. Yeah, my bad. So yeah, it's that's what I thought was happening. I thought that they learned from the Apollo that people were like, oh, that's really nice, thank you. You could buy the other ship and then get the weapon kit. So yeah, no, I was wrong. So once again, in summary, they learned from the flight blades that we need to make a separate variant to sell you the flight blade, because we can't possibly sell you the flight blade for real money because we had so much backlash. But people called it flight blades, so they were less mad about the fact that we sold kind of pointless weapons on many pointless ships. So now let's try a not pointless weapon on a not pointless ship and see what we can get away with. And they're going to get away with this one. I guarantee you I'm going to get a lot of people, oh, you just complain to complain. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No. Nope. I would have loved to see them sell a cosmetic change, because what was the thing they focused on in the video? They focused on the fin. Oh, people didn't like the fin. No, people don't typically like ballistics in Star Citizen right now because they're not really well balanced in the current game that well. Although the Wolf's weapons were fairly balanced, but they came with a different mechanic that a lot of people weren't used to, and that's overheating, right? So people were like, while they're using the Wolf, one of the most common bits of feedback was, man, it would be so sick to see this ship that I really like flying, that is really fun to fly, but with lasers, right? And they talked about the fin the entire time, but it was always about the lasers. And then instead of delivering a ship, it was the weapon package, essentially. I would have, if it was actually about the fin, you would have sold a cosmetic body kit that people, hey, not everybody likes the way the Honda Civic looks, so they put a body kit on it or whatever, right? Like, they would have sold you a cosmetic body kit to make your Wolf look different, and it would have been a cosmetic thing, and you could have charged $12 for it, and people would have bought it. Would as many people have bought it as people who were hoping their L21 would have laser repeaters on it? No, which is why they did it. And again, I am not against them monetizing this game. I think they need to add more monetization to it. I think the types of monetization they need to do require an actual video game for it to work. That is a subscription model, a kind of freemium model where you sell gold, and yes, sell gold. I am for that, believe it or not. I am for that because I've played games that do that and they work so much better than this. And then they have all these crazy insurance systems to defend the ship purchases and weapon purchases and armor purchases and gun purchases. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. This game is so broken because of its pledge store and how they have to react to the things that the marketing team decides to do. And that's why we say this game is driven by marketing, because it is. If it wasn't driven by marketing, you would have flight blades on every ship by now. But you don't. And you don't for a reason, because the game is driven by its marketing. So surprise, surprise, at IAE and Invictus, they are trying to sneak in new monetization schemes to scam you out of your money. And this one's going to work, I think. But hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully enough people agree with me and they actually listen to the feedback, but they won't. And they don't care what I say, and they don't care what any of you guys say, because they're going to do what's best for the company, and the company has to deliver a product that they're constantly taking your money for and not finishing yet, which is Squadron 42. They have consistently sucked us dry like a fucking mosquito for all of our money to make a game that we're not necessarily excited for. I am personally. I loved Wing Commander. I can't wait to play Squadron 42. But the fact that we keep, this is my actual true frustrations, is the fact that they keep monetizing Star Citizen clearly to finish the project of Squadron 42. And the monetization of Star Citizen negatively affects Star Citizen. So they're monetizing a game that they're taking the money to make a different game with that doesn't have the ability to do these types of monetization schemes and not actually make Star Citizen as good as it can be is just where I get, it's just so frustrating. So I don't know. Let me know if you thought I was being reasonable or not. They 100% sold you a flight blade inside of a ship without telling you they sold you a flight blade, and they sold you another weapon kit, which everybody raged about and nobody is going to now, which is exactly what we knew was going to happen. And I said I was going to be just as bad as I was then. And unfortunately, I'm not just as bad as I was then, because this isn't as bad, but it is, because it's opening the door to do it again. So I hope you guys recognize what's actually happening here. And it is monetizing your game and making it worse in the long term. And instead of doing better monetization options that don't. They are not currently an MMO game development studio, in my opinion. They are a pledge store, and that's what they are. And you are pledging to make Squadron 42. I hope you understand that, and I hope that game is great. And I hope when Squadron 42 comes out, they start making some better changes to Star Citizen. But at this point, what gives us any confidence that they will? So I've just been notified that the ship also comes with a VK00 on it. One of the best quantum drives if you only stay in Stanton and only do bounty hunting. So it's not really that good, but it's situationally good. Another slippery slope that's happening where you're putting military grade A components on a ship that you buy on the store. Again, I did fight this a little bit. With the chat that told me was like, I don't think this is that big of a deal, because what we don't know and what we can't necessarily be critical about them with is they keep talking about their crafting system being their progression system, but we haven't seen their crafting system. So it's very difficult to do that, that type of criticism when you have to speculate on what crafting is and stuff like that. But that is, another fair thing to point out is to get a VK00 in game, you need to gain lots of rep, do the Vandal Tech Smuggler mission, which is a lot of steps and literally group content. Need to go to the end and get the warehouse keys. That's one way. Possibly at the end of the executive hangar as well. I can't remember if VK00s are there. And maybe Hathor. So, guys, this is again taking gameplay and putting it on the pledge store. Why did we take these military grade A components or other good things out of the game and put them in the pledge? Like we took them out of the game, took them out of the pledge store, and put them in the mechanics that you guys wanted us to play and wanted us to farm. So now you're negating contested zone rewards, Vandal Tech Smuggler rewards of the developers that worked really hard on the gameplay to make that stuff fun and the players who really like to play your game. Once again, this game is driven by marketing, and they laugh about it and they make jokes on their ridiculous fake podcasts about being marketing shills and all they do is sell, and they make all these jokes, but then it's not a joke. It's what actually happens. You just undermined your game with one of your ship sales. You undermined gameplay that your developers worked on and your players like to play. Like, again, it's not that big of a deal. A VK00 could be bought in-game but from other players. It's not that big of a deal. But it is. Because it's like it's just the continuation of, we don't know our game, we don't know our players, or we do and we don't care. And that's the problem.